We're going to dive into everything Australian sports.
This time for the big A's to win the game for Australia from nowhere.
Articulate why we want to have a bet.
Yeah, we love golf.
Little Papa.
And a look at across every other sport, particularly our fancy.
Where's Pappenhausen now?
Welcome to the Early Crow.
Rule number 1, never force a bet. Early Crow, Tommy, episode 5. Big week last week, particularly for myself, but we got a job done in the golf. Victor Hovland. Let's start with Victor. Oh my lordy lord. If you didn't own a set of pings, and you were about to buy a set of clubs, you'd have to be buying ping. Like, he's so dialed in. It's like a video game.
It is, isn't it? He's two weeks in a row. Just turned in my favourite golfer. We pumped him up last week. Just incredible again. He just puts it on the green, bang, putt. He's on fire. Good to see. Good young golfer as well, and really looking forward to the future for him.
Can't wait for the Ryder Cup. Big week in golf with the Ryder Cup. The Americans the Ryder Cup, the Americans and the Europeans 6 qualify. Then the captain picks 6. The Americans have picked their 12. A little bit of controversy with JT Justin Thomas getting the nod. You know, bit of boys club gear. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because he's obviously not playing his best golf at the moment, but I don't know. He might stand up for him, play for the team and get it done. But it is very interesting in how it all works. A bit of a boys' club, but is what it is. He's been there. You sort of got to earn your stripes.
He's been there and he's done it before, and it just adds to the narrative, I reckon, of the Ryder Cup, which is probably the best week in. Well, it's top. It's one of the best weeks in golf, no doubt. Would you have picked him, or would you have gone with a Keegan Bradley sort of operation, or even old sweaty man who cost us a lot of cash the last couple of times he won, Lucas Glover, Strixon operator?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Or I'd probably just go Justin Thomas just because he's been there before. It's a bit like taking a very inexperienced sort of player in, and it's probably not. They're going all right, but they're not going that well. If he's banging down the door, you'd probably pick him, but he's not banging down the door.
Yeah, I think JT will like boy the boys, and he's a major winner. So I'm going JT, but I'm looking forward to it. You're into the finals, my man. You did it. Like it was a grim, very grim mid-year, but we've made it. How you going? How's the boys?
Yeah, it was good. It was it was looking pretty grim there, probably from around 13, 14. But we got together and made a pack and won six of the last 7 to get us in there, which is a good effort. And we look forward to the finals. Everyone loves playing finals, what you play footy for. And we go to the MCG next Friday night. It's sold out within an hour, I'm hearing. So should be 90 plus there. That's what it's all about, I reckon. You love playing those big games, big crowds, and feel very privileged to be able to do it.
Shout out to my mum, got me a ticket. Love you, die. We got Swans got real hot, but we got real cold in the rugby league. I mean, one of the great starts all time, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. Now we land 6-6, breaking even. We need him, don't we?
We need Lizard. Like it's ridiculous. I think it's obviously the last round of the NRL, but I had a look in the 7-Elevens this week. He wasn't there, but
big
he must be
man.
Still in Ballina, and he's Ballina, whatever it's called.
Got him.
Yeah. So
obviously, for those playing at home, when Paps goes to Byron, which his age, his lifestyle, he do a fair bit. He's obviously flying straight into Coolangatta. Some of us flying to Ballina on the Jetstar flight. Perhaps more a Virgin operator, I think, into Coolangatta. So full credit to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those playing at home, Ballina, just next to Byron Bay. And the ponies.
It is the last round. Last round of the NRL, though. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be obviously tougher to bet in the finals, but we'll have a few next week. But yeah, last round of the home and away season for the NRL.
Where there's a will, there's a way, responsibly. And speaking of responsible gambling, one of the all-time great sets at Moonee Valley on Saturday, and it looked on paper like mid. I don't know what it was, 2:30, 3 o'clock. We were humming because you've tipped a $5 shot that's just led, travelled, and won. How you seeing it? How you feeling?
It was it was a clinic from you, mate. It was very, very impressive. Just the first one was a letdown, obviously, but then you just went bang, bang, bang. One of the great fill-ups, and yeah, it was amazing to watch. The next race would come up, and it was like you were expecting it to just win. But yeah, it was one of the great clinics I've seen, and it's just, well, you're 20-something, mid-20s units up, and I'm just sitting right behind the lead in second.
Yeah, you're running second. As a team, we're well in front, and that's something that we're incredibly proud of. And it'll go up and it'll go down. You just got to ride out the waves. I'm going to start to up my stakes on the Paps set this weekend. Should we kick off now with a little bit of eyes on ponies, because it's a phenomenal weekend's racing.
Time for the big A. Won it from thunderstruck Almonagon. Then came Zaki. Now the greatest of them all, the Melbourne Cup. What a ride! What a win in a cup we'll never forget.
Let's kick off, Tommy. Randwick, the rail's out 4 metres. We're going to preview one of the lower races because you found a bet, and then we're going to quickly dive through most of the good races there at Randwick on Saturday. Let's kick off race 4, benchmark 94, 1600 metre race. Take it away.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's a nice meeting. It's obviously the good horses are starting to come back, which is good to see. There's a fair bit of rain around last night.
What about yesterday?
Yeah, there was just
hail.
Rain everywhere. Hail everywhere. You know, when you look at the radar, it was actually purple, like the max you could get on a radar.
Off topic, I don't know about your old man, but it sounds like he's a bit of an outdoorsman. My old man's not, but as you know, he's in town. His favourite app on the phone, despite like never going outside, the Bomb. And he's from Sydney. He's going, there's bloody black and red. It must be absolutely pissing down.
Yeah, it was heaving down. So we'll see. I don't think it will affect it too much. I'd have to have a look at how much they had at Randwick, but looks to be a nice day out there today. So if we get another nice day tomorrow, it should be okay for a good 4 or a soft 5 at worst, soft 6. But yeah, the race first one we're looking at is race 4, benchmark 94, 1600 metre. Number 12, Tarazale. I think this horse is a bit like Victor Hovland. If I jumped off, you'd have to come over here and belt me. I've backed it both. I've backed it both times. It's won both. It's originally a European horse. This prep, it's flying. Track and trip, three starts, 2 wins, 1 third. Has had a trial in between last run where it ran the fastest, second fastest last 200, fastest last 100 of the meeting. And yeah, it just looks a very, very good race. There's speed on. It's going to get a little bit probably back off midfield. Probably should have mentioned at the start. It's going to play pretty fair, this track. So I think there's going to be speed in it. The horses that will put the speed in the race, Mission Phoenix, Logan Street Lion, Accession, Machinal, and Kiss the Bride, which will really put the speed in the race, is drawn the widest and will really want to come around. So that will suit Tarazale. And I think, around the $3.50 mark, that's a good bet to have.
Yeah, I could not disagree. It's hard to knock these sort of types, isn't it? And a nice turn of foot over this trip. 55 kilos, the Chad, Snowdens. That's how we're kicking off our Saturday at Royal Randwick. The next race we're going to look at, just go over, is race 6, the Furious Stakes. This is a nice race, good horses, form lines everywhere. We have a black booker from our black booker reels. If you're missing them, find them on our socials. Summer Lovin' was a black booker for you, Tom, and it's number 11 here in race 6. Are you having a bet at this point in time?
No, I'm not going to have a bet. It's a pretty even sort of race. The 3 in the market are probably the ones that I've sort of got as a bet. Just getting it up here, sorry. Yeah, so the ones I'm sort of looking at is Autumn Ballet, Komochi, and Tis Invincible. Autumn Ballet was really good last start, up probably sitting 4th when it wasn't a day to be up on the speed. Komochi was from the back and absolutely flew home in good splits. And then Tis Invincible as well was in a nice spot. Probably, I think that was the week earlier, and ran the fifth fastest 200 a day and ninth fastest 100. So Tis Invincible's probably the one that if I was to have a bet, would have a bet. Komochi's the favourite, but yeah, there's not much edge in between them. But just wait for mine, I reckon. Tis Invincible on top for me, but probably, yeah, it's a sort of a price dependent play.
Summer Lovin will get back worse than midfield, but it's a phenomenal race. That's race number 6 there at Randwick. Race 7, the Concorde. 1,000 metre Group 3 worth $1 million. Now, yeah, remember this. Cue Twitter if it's rained a little bit, like it has yesterday and a little bit today, and the track's absolutely no good on Saturday. Cue Twitter blowing up the likes that there wasn't half this prize money put into fixing that track. Just let me get that off my chest. We've got this race. It shouldn't be worth $1 million, but it's $1 million field. Nature Strip, Eduardo, In Secret, Freak, Bella Nipotina, Zapateo, Remarked. It's just a phenomenal race. Carlos has already come out, heads to Melbourne. Your speed map here, Tommy, you got Nature Strip, Eduardo, Remark, In Secret, the sort of guts of the speed. How do you see this race?
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's a very tough race, and I sort of went
through this last night, and it's just like, what did we start? We started with one. Remark. I'm going, Tommy, look at Remark's trials. It's trialled real good. Oh, he's got a lot of pony. Like, he had a stack of pony in that trial. But as we went through them, it was just everyone had pony.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'll go through about 5 or 6 of them here, like the ones that you mentioned. Number 1, Nature Strips, trialled really nicely. It's a 9-year-old, draws the widest, is the favourite. Do you want to be backing it at $3? Or it's you do you.
Responsible.
I'm not going to turn you away from it. Eduardo, another old boy, but has trialled very nicely.
He trialled like he wants to. He's still got a bit of fight in him.
Yeah, and it's around the $7 mark. In Secret had a couple of quieter trials, didn't show much intent, and it's 1,000 metres, so hasn't raced over the 1,000 metres. So I expect that just to be a nice little start off for its campaign. I think, not sure where it's going to head. You'd think it try go to the Everest, will it? Or who knows? It's probably depending on this race, I suppose, doesn't it?
I think of what it did last preparation, the world's its oyster. It could go anywhere and do anything, this horse. I think off the trials, I agree with you, and I think it creates a potential hole in this market, which if you're keen, you can bet into. It's currently equal favourite with Nature Strip, $3.20. So if you're leaning with Paps and I that perhaps off those trials, this thing will be ridden half cold and just get through its gears, it does potentially open up the race to have a bet into, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah, and then number 6, Bella Nipotina. Malum comes up here for this ride, gets barrier 3. Where does it get to in run? Probably should have won that race at Moonee Valley, was it, when it got held up? And in Perrotts, however you say that. Imperators won.
Well, I disagree because I backed Imperators, but that's just the nothing governs us like self-interest. But yeah, it was a great run. It was a phenomenal performance there.
And then number 8, Zapateo, trialled unreal, was out in front in that trial and was just trucking along. Libertad, who was third in that trial behind Corniche, actually come out and won last week. Has a very good first up record. Gets back in the run though. I think it's around the $11 mark, and then obviously the last one is Remarked, like you said, trialled enormous, first up record, 5 starts, 3 first, 1 third, draws that wide barrier. I think it might get held wide, which is the other issue, but that's the race for mine. Those sort of 5 or 6, and it's a very nice race. I'm looking forward to watching it and actually see what the outcome is.
I think there's angles everywhere in this race, and Zapateo is one of them. This Brazen Bow 5-year-old mare, is a proper mudder. She exploded and kicked their heads in one day on a bottomless Caulfield track. But there's a few mudders in here. So, great race. Can't wait to watch it. Full credit to them for making it worth $1 million. Race 8 is the Chelmsford Stakes, over 600 metres, Group 2, weight for age. Proper racing. Phenomenal race this time. This is a really good race. Good horses. Horses that you can watch and not bet into this race if you don't need to, you don't want to, and you just want to get a bit of a profile for the bigger races moving forward. Horses out of this race will be competitive in the grouse races.
Yep. Yeah, so the speed map here, there's a bit of speed on. There's Lindemann, Knight's Order, Think It Over. That will go forward. Major Beal, Montefilia will probably be around that midfield mark, we will be on. Sorry, if you remember the Black Booker out of that race, what race was it? Sorry,
The Wink Stakes, Montefilia,
the
first
Wink
up,
Stakes.
Uncle Chris, Deep Payne. It was a big run.
Yeah, massive run. Flew from the back, fourth fastest 200 of the day, fastest last 100 of the day. Draws better here. Gets J-Mac on from Gibbons, which is just massive. Second up, 7 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 third. Has won on the track and trip. Gets the 1600 metres, which is the 200 metres further. Looks pretty good for mine as a bet. I've got it marked around the $3.70 mark, $4 mark. It's around about $4.80 now.
$5 available. $5 available. So when it crunches and wins, you could have had 5s.
Yeah, exactly. And then the dangers will be Think It Over, who got 6 lengths head start on Montefilia last start. Montefilia won't be that far back from it this start. Much closer in running. And then Hinged. Hinged is actually 5 starts, second up, 3 wins and 2 thirds, I think. So yeah, they're the 2 that are the dangers. But yeah, I'm going to be with Montefilia in the Chelmsford Stakes. Sorry,
Chelmsford. Any opinion? The 7 Lindemann, who
Lindemann, yes.
I thought trialled pretty well, and you could tie the trial in through a couple of horses on the day.
Yeah, went forward, and then obviously it was not a great spot to be up on the speed that day. So if you can forgive that run, I think it's not too far away as well.
All right, the last race in Sydney that we're going to touch on is another group race, Paps. It is the Tramway Stakes, Group 2, 1,400 metres. It's a fat field, it's a big field, and there's potentially a really nice horse down the bottom.
We'll have race 9 here. I've got number 16, Alencia. We black booked it. This horse, its first up run was just enormous. It absolutely just smashed the clock. Like it rated a massive number, a number that good horses run first up. Comes here second up, which its previous peak was second up. So I think it can improve again. And if it does get a little bit wetter, it can handle the wet, but I don't think it will. Can roll forward here from barrier 9, land in the about first half of the field where you want to be. I think this is a good bet. J-Mac jumps off because he couldn't meet the weights.
See, I love that, guys. You listening at home. He's working hard here, and it's going to start to pay off. Like, we weren't sure what was going on last night, and full credit to you. You've done the work there.
Yeah, so
I love that stuff. I respect that grind. That's good information. This horse is 2 from 2 on the heavy. It's 1 from 1 on the soft. It's 3 from 2 on the good.
Yeah. So yeah, J-Mac will go ride going global first up, and it wasn't the trial.
I thought the trials were awful.
Yeah.
It looked like Lucas Glover in the first trial. If you saw it.
Sweating up.
Oh mate, it looked like we had a game of golf up at the Magic Millions, hung over and hot as balls. Wasn't pretty.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, I think Lencia is a very, very nice bet there. There's another one called where is it? The My Oberon. It goes pretty well first up as well, but draws 10. Is a pretty nice horse. Has raced in Group 1 class, but I think Alencia is the one to beat for sure.
What about Pericles, the 4-year-old street boss gelding for the Godolphin Army? J-Mac off, Zachy Lloyd on. Now, this must have been a really sort of confusing little conundrum for you to deal with, because Zach has held the number 1 spot in the PAPS Power Rankings Sydney Jockeys since we started the Early Crow, and for the sort of 2 or 3 months we built the Early Crow. Obviously, that was through the middle of guts of winter. We're getting into prize money season now. Where we at? Where's Zachy at?
He's a very good rider, but this is his first season not being an apprentice. He doesn't have the claim, but yeah, he'll win some races for sure in the spring. But J-Mac and Nash and K-Mac, obviously the main ones. And
so let's just get some. That's for the punter at home. We're tapping out now. Tapping out from Sydney. We'll finish off with the clarifications. Episode 5, Paps power rankings 1, 2, and 3 Sydney jockeys, please. I think it's a little bit like Justin Thomas. Like, Zach Lloyd's playing great golf, but I want to go with the guys I know.
Yeah, we'll start off with we'll go J-Mac, Nash, and Kieran McAvoy. But J-Mac let me down yesterday, so he doesn't want to let me down again. But yeah, they're the 3 for now. There could be someone else might come out of the woodwork and really start. Well, Chad Schofield, he might just go whip down the outside on a Tarazal and sneak his way in. But they're me 3.
All right, let's head to Caulfield. I believe the rail's in the true, which I hate, Tom, because it's a fairly even rail position at Caulfield. Obviously, rule number 16, you always want to favour horses, like lean to horses that settle midfield or better. But this is a rail position that's relatively even, which makes life tough for the punter. But we'll kick off, Tom, in race 2. It's a benchmark 78 1400 metre race, and there's a horse here that I black booked, Worsfold, Nick Ryan. Blake Shin goes on. It's drawn to get back worse in midfield, but like I said, it's a fairly even track, and we're getting double figures, $13 available this horse. If you like to bet each way, this is the opportunity to do that. I don't. It's win or nothing for me. But I just think Worsfold sets up as a nice bet. His run last start, Tommy, was like good enough, and I was worried, and I sort of think I might have said it in our social piece that they might try to aim a little bit too high. But although this is a Saturday race, it's a benchmark 78, like I said. So I'm keen to be with Worsfold, who is dropping back in class here. And, I think sets up to run a really nice race. This Seamus Award gelding's 3 from 6 at this trip. Yeah,
nice, mate. There's actually a Sydney horse, Charlton Lane, that's come in. Barrier 3 will get back. So it might be a bit tricky from there, but we'll see how that goes down there.
I think that horse will almost settle midfield. That horse might also settle midfield, Charlton Lane. The next race we're going to talk about, Tom's race 7 at Caulfield. It's a Group 3 race for the mares. So older girls, 4-year-old and up. 3-year-olds are fillies. Punters playing at home. The speed here is solid, but not huge. I think Dancer Dubai, Parasol, Papillion Club, maybe Road to Arataki forward. Cute as, Bound for Home, Laced Up Heels thereabouts. The rest further back. Benedetta is the most exciting horse potentially there on Saturday, but I think Parasol sets up as a potential bet here. I'll clarify this in our socials like tomorrow or Friday, but this is a really important lesson in what actual gambling responsibly is. If the track's favoured on-pace horses for the first half of this card, then we're going to step into Parasol. If it's racing really evenly, then it loses its advantage and it's no longer a bet. And Benedetta's going to probably run over the top of them all. But I think they're the main 2 players. They're both drawn wide, so they're going to get nice momentum in their runs. They've both got quality jockeys on who suit them. But I think J. Carr, the wide draw, Parasol, potentially is going to be the one the market comes for, Tom.
Yeah, nice, mate. Benedetta is a very, very nice horse. Loves it down the Flemington Straight, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a test for it on Saturday, going around the tight little bendy Caulfield track. The next race, mate, it's the race 8. Now, it's the McCafe Stakes. It's also known as a Heath. And Tom had a little bet in this race earlier. You're on Mask Crusader at $15. Draw 9 probably gets back. I think the speed here is Magic Time, Asfura, and Midwest. Midwest, a very, very fast animal. Starry Legend, Wee Nessie, Generation thereabouts. I think Ingratiating will show some intent from the inside draw. Callus, who's trialled Super and heads to Melbourne, could have gone to Sydney thereabouts. The rest of them get back worse than midfield. Tommy, talk to me about Masked Crusader.
Yeah, it's my page is just loading, mate. But yeah, it's trialled very nicely. It's obviously started around probably a couple of preps ago, around $9 in the Everest. It hasn't won in a while, but I think Hawks is got a the Hawks boys have got it going here. It loves this track. It's 2 from 2 at Caulfield. I think obviously the tracks, if it's fair, the speed will be on, and it can come hooning down the outside. But obviously we want to see how the track is. But we're already on, and I'd love to see it be a nice fair track just for this bet, because it'd be a very nice little all-in play that we had early in the week around the $15.
Yeah, $15 we took. I think it'll start shorter than that for sure. 2 from 2 track, like you said, and it won this race 2 years ago. So it drops right back in grade here, and I think it's a nice play you've had. Outside
first up,
of
it's 8 starts, three wins at first up as well. So,
yeah, it sets up nicely. There's horses here that I think are a little bit chinky. Ingratiating was very good last start. Size, Airborne, been given a little bit of moody magic to maintain the prep. I expect Bella Nipotina comes out, which carves up some market percentage for your all-in bet, so you're locked in there at 15s. I think as Fura deserves to be favourite and will be very, very hard to beat. I want to get around it, but I just can't. I looked at the race more and more and more, and I'd comfortably have as Fura as the way to play the race as a starting point. But outside of that, it's quite open again, and we want to watch how the track races. Race number 9 is the last race we're going to look at Caulfield. It's a Group 1 weight for age 1400 metre race. This is the tippy top of horse racing. It's an elite race. Brightside, I Wish I Win, Alligator Blood. The list goes on. My map, punters. Alligator Blood, Bandersnatch, and Anavisto, the speed. The Inevitable, Western Empire, Princess, Grace, Sydney Form, thereabouts. I think Amenable might try and go forward from that wide draw. Brightside, drawn awfully again. Can he pull off another magical ride, Willow? I doubt he can, but I was wrong last time. The rest of them further back. Osipenko, a Black Booker for Tommy, rolls down to Melbourne and rolls forward, I reckon, from barrier 2 or sits sort of midfield. And I Wish I Win, who might almost be favourite at the moment, has drawn barrier 1. Is first up over 1,400 metres off a sprinting campaign last start. Is a tricky setup to handle. His trials were not as good as they were last preparation, but this is a different preparation. I find him really, really tricky to read, but I think at the price, I'm going to oppose. I hate the map for the horse. I don't think it suits Luke Nolan, and I think I Wish I Win will start bigger than $3.50.
What do you think Moods is doing it with at this prep? Is it starting off the 1,400 to go further, or is it still going to have the sprint trip and go back to the 1,200, or what do you think is going to happen?
I think he's only having 2 runs this prep, which confuses me, and I don't like it. But I'm cautious to, oppose PG Moody's training decisions, but I'm going to anyway. So I think you have to take the horse on. I think you have to take the horse on just off the map and the barrier draw. Like, inside draws, back and buried, don't suit any jockey. They might suit D. Oliver or Blake Shin. They don't suit Luke Nolan. Just if the horse was absolutely airborne, I'd still want to be against it just off its map. I think Alligator Blood, off its hot trials, like they're very sharp trials in Sydney, is a bet in the Memsie. I think he'll roll forward. I think he's going to get every possible chance. However this track races, he can sort of be in that slot fresh. He's got a map advantage versus Mr. Brightside. He's a Group 1 operator. And I think Alligator Blood for Timmy Clark and Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott is the easiest bet to have at Caulfield on Saturday, Tom.
Nice, mate. Love it.
That's ponies. I think it's time to talk Hug the League.
Oh, hospital pass.
Oh, the Lizard's Lick.
Lizard's
how
Lick.
good's that going to be?
Righto, Tom. Rugby League, the final round. It's been carved up with late scratchings, just massive changes. Should the NRL have the week off like you boys do?
It's an interesting one. It's the NFL has it off before the grand final, or the Super Bowl you call it.
Bowl.
It's an interesting one. I think it's very with the rugby leagues. concussion as well. Like, guys will be missing finals for sure, like going into big finals, grand finals, because they just get so many. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I think this time of year it is nice to sort of have a little freshen up and get into it. But yeah, it's a topical question because you don't want to lose momentum if you're going into the finals, or sometimes you need that break. So yeah, it's sort of whatever you feel, your opinion, whatever you want.
So, 0 from 3 last weekend. Very, very disappointing. We weren't happy with ourselves. We had a good talk amongst ourselves. We're talking to the lizard. We're trying to find the lizard, but we're going to get through this ourselves. We're going to find a way. We're going to go 2-1 at worst this weekend. We're going to kick off South versus the Roosters. South, $1.85. Favourites versus the Chooks, $1.95. The line's 1.5, Tom.
Yeah, what are you doing, mate? I'm not playing this race because last week I didn't want to play and you fucked us. So we went 0 from 3 because of you. I wanted the Broncos to be
okay,
bet, and then you went against. So
did you watch that? And did you watch that game?
Yeah, and what happened?
We took 10.5 and they got done by 11, so we lost by a 0.5. I think we got one guy binned for putting his little chicken wing out late. It was some of the greatest robberies of all time. That captain's challenge off the dropout. I take full responsibility for my actions, but I feel like we were a bit stiff at the same time.
Yeah, well, Broncos were minus 8.5 on the Thursday when we mentioned it, but
yeah, that's true.
That's all right. True. You do you, and if you want to have this, have this bet, you have this bet again.
I love the Roosters here. Souths are gone. Souths are gone.
All right.
I think the Chooks need to win. They both need to win, but I think the Souths are in all sorts. Injuries. Rusty. I think Rusty's over in Europe still just circuiting, doing Rusty things. He's not there to sort of get him on the same page. I love the Chooks here, and I'll take the 1.5 because this could be one of the great games of rugby league, I think.
Love it, mate.
The next game.
That's good. I'm going the next game, Dolphins versus Warriors. Now, this is one of the all-time. So the Warriors have taken the rest here. They obviously wanted the rest. They've rested. We'll just go on the initials because they've all got massive names. AFB, CNK. And then TWZ, Johnston and Egan.
Egan, it's like
Stacey Jones, bloody tongue twister.
But yeah, so they've got pretty much their twos playing, and yeah, I just think it's the Warriors have taken their rest. Dolphins have much better side on paper, but obviously haven't got much to play for. Yeah, the Warriors don't really either. It's a bit of a dead rubber, but I think the Dolphins on paper should be getting this done by at least 4.5. The line is now, so that's my bet, mate. What are your thoughts on there?
I love that bet. I'm all in. I also think Jermaine Asako is going to have an absolute night out. He'll score plenty of tries. He might score 2. 2.5 probably the line for me for Jermaine Asako's try times. The last game we're going to look at, the actual Finn, not the Dolphins, the original Finn, and still the Finn. The Sharks, the Cronulla Sharks, $1.35 versus the Raiders, $3.25. The line's 9.5, Tommy.
Yep. Sharks here, 9.5. Like you're saying, it's a big game. The Sharks are playing for a home final. Raiders need a win to stay in the finals. Sharks, a bit off last week, obviously, but against the Knights, who were playing well. Back at home this week. I think they really want to bounce back from last week. Had a reality check last week, and I think them at home should get the job done here. Raiders don't have Papley and Horsburgh in the forwards.
He's that big redhead. That he's an animal, real aggressive.
Yeah. So yeah, I think with those two forwards out, I think Sharks will win.
I completely agree. I think that last weekend was sort of like we were all in as the milk, the Raiders were, and we saw like sticky Ricky Stewart was abusing cameramen. So God knows what it did to the boys. post game and through the week. So thoughts and prayers with the Raiders players, but I think it's going to be a tough road trip to the Shire. That's Rugby League this week. We'll clarify our players and our lines across our socials. Make sure you tune in. A little bit of AFL narrative.
Down straight to Papley, and the Swans pounce again. That is just so exciting. He's happy with it. He's happy. He enjoyed it. Where's Pappenhausen now? The Pap.
Tommy, the All-Australian squad. As a outsider from inside the bubble, how important is it? Do you care at all? Do you care?
About what?
Like the All-Australian squads being picked in an All-Australian side? Is it important to a player?
If picking in All-Australian side, that's definitely a big achievement, in my opinion. The squad's an interesting one. I've made the squad 3 times and only been picked once. So as a younger player, I think.
Are you hanging on that? Are you hanging on the like you're in the squad and then it's like a bit of a distraction for 3 or 4 days?
No, you're not going to a sportsman night and saying, "Oh yeah, I made the All-Australian squad 3 times."
No, I meant like when you're in the squad, is that like something that's in your mind going, "Oh, I'm close. I wonder if I'm going to get picked," and you sort of dwell on that.
Yeah, I think for me when I first got picked in, I think I was 23 in the squad, and I was like, "Fuck, that's pretty cool." Like, there's how many players in the AFL, and you're picked in the best 40 players as a 23-year-old. Like, as a young bloke, like I reckon a few young boys in there would be thinking that's fucking pretty cool, and I thought that at the time, and then. Yeah, then I made it the following year and got in the actual team. So it was pretty, for me, I find it pretty good. Like, I think a squad's, like, obviously you don't hang your hat on that, but I think getting recognised for being the top 40 players for that year is a pretty good achievement. I think, like Lizard this year, I think he made the squad first time. I'm sure he'd be pretty chuffed that he made the squad and is in the top 40 players for the year.
And that'll like sort of give him a bit more even self-confidence and belief to push that a little bit harder, you think? That's what happened with you?
Yeah, well, yeah, if you think that way. But, it's like I think All-Australian is, if you're making the All-Australian, it's a great feather in the cap. And, as an individual award, it's a very nice touch.
So did the Lizard make the All-Australian side last night? Oh my God!
But Errol did. Errol was the youngest Swan ever to do it.
Wow! That's cool.
A very nice touch. I think the other one might have been Hannah's at that age, maybe. But Errol's had an amazing year. He's an absolute gun. I love playing with him. He's a ripper kid as well. So, and this won't be his first one. I think he'll be having around 4 or 5 All-Australians, in my opinion.
Who were the halfback flankers, just out of interest, that knocked off our man?
Sinclair and Dan Houston, so they were pretty locked in there.
Unlucky. Full credit to Errol. Toby Green. For anyone who's like not an AFL person, which I doubt if you listen to this podcast, but he was a like a bad boy, a super talented, strong, powerful forward, but a smaller forward. Who just sort of like if you were playing FIFA when you were a young bloke, he would have thrown controllers. But he's like matured, and it's one of the great stories of all time that he's now capped that off with captaining, being named captain of the All-Australian side, Tom. It's quite a journey he's been on.
It is. It's full credit to him. He was a bit younger and a bit immature, and like we all are, and made a few mistakes. But sometimes you got to live on that edge to find out where the edge is, and then you sort of come back from it. But yeah, Toby Green's my favourite player in the comp. I love watching him play. I reckon in my eyes, he's the most valuable player for a team in the comp. I think if you took Toby Green out of the Giants team, that would make more impact on anyone in any team in the comp. He's just got that, like, just the way he walks, the sort of confidence and arrogance he walks with is amazing. I'd love to play behind him and under him, but unfortunately not going to, and won't. But yeah, he's just got that.
Just to clarify,
he's just got that just that real prick about him that I would love to play with him.
Yeah, I can see that as a viewer. And
to like, I think he's kicked 60 goals this year, which is just extraordinary. Like he's probably he's probably just 6 foot, and like to kick 60 goals is just ridiculous.
He's an elite reader of flight. He reads flight off the boot quicker than almost anyone I've ever seen, which gives him that advantage to hold spot, you know? A little bit like yourself, if we're looking after each other there. Like, that's his edge, isn't it? Like, he sort of sees what's going to happen before other people see what's going to happen, and he puts himself in those spots
his
to take
reaction
advantage.
times. Yeah.
Coaches votes versus Brownlow. How do we see that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's topical. It's I think the coaches see the game a lot better than the umpires because they're watching the game. They
understand the game. They understand the structure. They understand the roles that people are playing.
They know what's exactly. Yeah. So, like, I think that the coaches know what's going on more. But I'm not saying that the Brownlow. I'd rather win a Brownlow than win a coaches association award. You know what I mean? And because it's the Brownlow, like, the Brownlow's a Brownlow. It's got that badge. The medal is just, it's got rich history. But yeah, I still do think the coaches see the game better. But I definitely wouldn't say I'd rather win a coaches association award than a Brownlow.
I think that's incredibly well summed up.
Although I do think that the coaches association do find the best player for the year, and sometimes the umpires may not.
Yeah, well, but they've got a much harder job too. Like, the umpires are running around sweating like pigs, trying to officiate one of the toughest games to officiate in the world. With, like, let's be honest, even at whatever level you played, you're trying to trick them as much as you can, particularly the craftiest small forwards out there.
It's it's such a tough job, the umpires, to umpire, get abused, and then from the crowd and bloody everything else, and then come out and find 3 best players on the field. But yeah, full credit
to them. They do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, we love golf.
In your life, have you seen anything like that?
God bless me. Golf this week. We're going to head to Europe. We're going to head to Switzerland. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name, but it's in Switzerland. It's in the Alps. It's lined with massive trees. It's tight fairways, tiny greens. It's a par 70, 6,800 yarder. So it's shorter than the PGA, but you get punished if you miss. It's going to be all about your approach shots to these tiny little greens. We're going to send out our staking plans or our bets across the socials. The average score for this course is 16 under since 2000, and 7 of the last 9, Tommy. 7 of the last 9 European Masters have been won in a playoff. Who are you with?
Wow. And I'm just with Matt Fitzpatrick here. I know he's the favourite, but he's won here twice. Finished 9th in the FedEx. I think he's just better than these, and if he plays half of what he's been playing, I think he just gets the job done here. He's got the course, knows it well, and yeah, I just think he's a good player around the $10 mark.
Beautiful work. Mine will be across the socials. Let's head now to finish off episode 5 with our viewer questions. Take it away, Tom. Viewer questions this week. The first one, Tom, I'm not sure who it comes from, but we will be in touch. Favourite saying when cheering home a horse? I think I know what your one is.
Yeah, mate. This is a fair few of our boys at the club. It's be tough, like be tough, be tough. When it's in. Where did be tough come from? I don't know. I actually don't know. But it's I think me and Juzzy McInerney love it, and yeah, when your horse is just leading and it's just neck and neck, and it's just got to hang on for that last 100 meters. Just scream, be tough, and it usually gets there.
I've got stages, so I've got like rhythm, like early, because I want to just get him in a rhythm. Then I got like 3 gears, so like the 600-700 through your gears. Just want them to like ease through the gears, through your gears, through your gears, through your gears. They're sort of internal ones.
That's real technical.
Yeah. And then basically the last like 400, I just roar at the jockey. So I'm like I remember we had a horse running at Sandown, Boss Queen, and we had a big bet, $10, started shorter, and all the owners were there with me, and I'm going, come on Ollie. Oh, Damien Oliver's riding it. Come on Ollie. And they're going, go Bossy, because she's called Boss Queen. And in my mind, I was so angry. I was like, it's not fucking Glenn Boss, it's Damien Oliver. But they were calling it the horse. I just couldn't even contemplate what they were doing. So I roar at the jockey hard and just motivate the jockey to ride out my pony the last sort of 200 metres.
You would have seen last week, Dicko obviously had a great week, and he was randomly dressed in a Kenny Powers outfit. Why was that, Dicko? What's the go there?
Kenny Powers of East Bound and Down fame, which is one of my favourite shows of all time. Kenny Powers outfit, and a couple of them were my sort of go-tos on my Silly Sunday Mad Mondays when I played at the club level, the park level. And I still have a few. I have two at the moment, and I bring them out when I'm feeling good. And my daughter didn't know what was going on Saturday. But well, it's good. I wear it sometimes, not the hat and the wig, but I wear like the top to the park or something at the playground, and you can just tell like the good bloke dads who like understand comedy when they look at you and they laugh, whereas other guys look at you like you're a freak. So I love Kenny Powers, and if you haven't watched Eastbound and Down, that'll be the best bet I'll give you all weekend. 4 seasons of just comedy gold. It's different. Danny McBride's one of the great operators all time.
Nice, mate. What else?
Tom, favourite? If you could train a horse, what would be the one like attribute? What one thing about that horse you'd want?
I just want gate speed.
Oh yeah,
just to ping out of the gates, because, like Dicko, the horses that settle always, the horses that give them chance of the race and settle first half of the field and it land in the first 4 is it's got the better chance of winning the race. So for me, pinging the gates, and just pinging the gates,
pinging lids,
like,
lid pinging.
Yeah. What about you?
I would have said Lion Chaser, like before I started the bloodstock business. Now I'd probably just say like a sound, tough horse, so it can get through. It can get through work, and it can handle like a Keats. Like he's not an absolute superstar, but he's tough, strong, and sound, and he just goes and goes and goes.
Nice.
Last question. You can have one horse to own to win a very rich race, Flemington 600 metre, a miler. The All-Star Mile is at Flemington, 600 metre race. You can own one pony. What are you doing?
Jeez, it's
and it's got to be racing now. Anamo's off the. He's in the barn doing some of his best work.
Ooh.
He's a very busy boy.
Jeez. Go first. I'm going to have a quick think.
Fangirl.
Oh, yeah.
Big, filthy, Flemington Straight, Uncle Chris, prize money, J-Max sticks. You'd have a stack of pony at like the 700. It'd be travelling deluxe sort of midfield, just worse. He'd peel lanes 4, 5, 6 potentially. Get through your gears, son. Go past the P&O ship cruise, which is the grandstand at Flemington members, and then just start roaring at J-Mac to get it done. Clock tower stuff.
There's one that
Plus,
ran really
Tom,
well.
pink silks. Very easy to see when in the run. Love that.
Osipenko.
Yep.
Osipenko, I reckon, will win a race at Flemington this spring over the 1600 metre.
This prep.
It was huge
spring.
last start. This prep, yep.
Yeah, right. Osipenko
that's
and
We'll,
Fangirl. Who's winning?
I reckon. What do you reckon about the when your horse is racing? What are you screaming at the TV?
Yeah, they win. They win a case, don't they?
Yep, a doozy case. So we'll ship that out to you.
Right, get in touch, Jez. You have one question of the week. You get a case of doozy from the Early Crow. Guys, I hope you have a phenomenal weekend. I hope it's half as good as it was last weekend for us on the punt. We'll be back next week for episode 6. Tom, you just keep dominating. Get yourself right. Get around the boys. Big week on the simulator. PS5. Do whatever you guys need to do to get yourselves right. It's a huge weekend for the boys. And I hope everyone just keeps winning. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to The Early Crow. Follow the socials immediately. You already should, but if you're not, do it again. Make sure you have, because we will be giving out our staking plans for Saturday's racing across our socials.
Yeah, bye for now.